How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of In the Sand podcast. If you know me, I'm excited as ever to be back for another episode. And again, we are in season two. This is season two, episode two, and I couldn't be more excited to have an excellent young coach and Coach Robinson here from Madison Central High School. As we kind of talked before the episode, I learned a lot prior to my notes that I already have. So I'm excited for you, to hear his story. A family man, a guy full of energy, a guy definitely about the kids, and a guy that's constantly trying to advance the game on all levels, from Pee Wee all the way up to college as well. So I'm excited just to learn myself more about Coach Robinson, but also for him to be able to share. So, Coach Robinson, man, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. I truly appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yes, sir, man. So, Coach, I'm going to go ahead and get started, man. I want you to talk to us. I really want us to give us your journey, Coach. I want you to talk about kind of your days in high school and the sports that you played, and how did that transition, or how did that turn into becoming just a football coach, track coach? And of course, I know you had other adventures. I want you to talk about that as well, and just kind of give us your story. And then, as you're telling us your story, Coach, talk to us about the different stops you have made in your coaching journey, because that's so important. Because as you and I were talking before the podcast, there's some people that we kind of know just indirectly because we kind of had passing by. So it's always good to kind of know stops. So I'm excited about it. So, Coach, talk to us about this journey that you've been on at a very early age.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, coming from Flint, Michigan, really from Flint, Michigan, inner city Flint, Michigan, grew up with just my mom at home. She would do any and everything she would have to do to get and make me happy. Coming out of Flint, as we all know, we had a lot of water crisis. You had the Flintstones before that at Michigan State.
Yes.
That was always our path, so making it out of there was the goal. If you can make it out, most people don't make it out of there, to be honest with you, because you've seen all type of shooting, you've seen everything in the inner city Flint. And so one of the most dangerous cities in the country as it is, between Flint, Detroit, things like that nature. So I made it out of Flint, Michigan, man. I went and played football at Central Michigan University. Got a great career there. Central Michigan, played under Brian Kelly, played on a coach with Butch Jones. So Brian Kelly down at LSU. So knowing those type of connections that I have, playing under him. Then after playing, I didn't know what I really wanted to do, but my coaches thought, hey, you'll be an excellent coach. So I never thought about that. I want to be a physical therapist. I want to be a sports broadcaster. But they said, you'll be a great coach. Go into coaching because you have the leadership abilities. You've been around your team, your peers respect you that much. So I went into coaching right away. So I got an opportunity right there at Central Michigan under Butch Jones. He was a running back coach early in my career there. Then he left and came back to be the head coach. So now he's at Arkansas State, so get to play and coach under him was an honor. My coaches always respected me. My peers respected me, like I said. Then I coached, like I said, my defensive coordinator that year was Tim Banks, who's right now the defensive coordinator at University of Tennessee. So those are things you never know who you're going to meet. You never know. Yeah, I might see you today, but in 10 years, where will you be? That's why I have to make that great impression on you right now, because you never know who you're going to cross paths with. After my first year coaching up there, I got an opportunity to come all the way down here to Mississippi to Alcorn State University. One of my position coaches early in college at Central Michigan was the head coach got the head coaching job down here. So I got to come way down south, not knowing where I'm going. After our bowl game, I just loaded up my car one time and just got on the road right after our bowl game and just headed down. Like I said, back then you had MapQuest, you print out all the directions. It wasn't no maps on your phone, nothing like that, So I'm printing all the directions. I'm just going page after page. Where am I going? And I made it down here to the reservation, man, and it was a blessing. It was a true blessing for me because I got to come down here somewhere, had to step outside of my box. Most people don't want to step outside of their box. And so I stepped outside my box. I could have stayed at Central Michigan and grew up there more, but for me, it was the peers respected me as a player and respected me as a coach. So you need to step out your box and see what your worth is. And so came down here to Alcorn State. I'm out here for 4 years. It was a blessing for me because I got to grow on my own, away from my family, had no family down here, grew on my own quickly. And that's age of 22, got right into coaching. So I'm 22 years old down here on the reservation. I'm like, man, this is the HBCU experience, not knowing anything about it coming from up north. So you get to see the Circle City Classic on TV. Indianapolis, that was it though. So you don't know a lot of stuff going on in the HBCU world being up north. So after 4 years down here, my new head coach, Ernest Collins, got the job at Northern Colorado. So I went out there, said, okay, let's go. So we went out there to Northern Colorado, was there for 3.5 years. And it was a blessing because you go from one culture to another culture out there to the Big Sky Conference. Yes, it's all the FCS. For me, it was the opportunity to see, you got the FCS on both schools, being in the SWAC and the Big Sky, but the Big Sky, you traveling everywhere, you fly into every game because of the travel, because the teams are so far apart. So having the opportunity to see, okay, these are both FCS schools, but however, their budgets are totally different from each other. Everything, the climate, everything. You went from painting the lines on the practice field to 6 or 7 turf fields out here for practice, so that was a big difference, Like I said, we flew to every game, man, and that was amazing for me, being on that stop out there, because you get to, like I said, have to grow up again much more. And then you look at recruiting. I'm flying down to New Orleans. I have the Midwest and I have the South in recruiting. And one of the most important things in my life, one of my coaching career, was recruiting a kid from New Orleans. I had no issue recruiting kids from Michigan because they all trusted me. They all trust. So I had a kid from New Orleans. He said, Coach, if you wouldn't offer me this scholarship, I'd probably be dead or in jail. And so I had to take a step back. Like, that's amazing. That to a kid to say that, that's what you do. That's what you're doing. What you're doing right there. You're walking. You're being a servant to God because you're helping this young man out and his family out. For him to say you'll be out without this scholarship offer to come out there, I'll be dead or in jail. That man, that was the tipping of the iceberg right there for me. And so that was it right there, man. I'm walking in. I'm walking in it. I'm being a walking testimony to others. I'm helping others and being that servant, like I said. And that was very important. And so, like I said, then I came back after being in Northern Colorado, came back to Mississippi. And like I said, recruiting Mississippi always, you're touching all the high schools, you're touching everybody. And I came back here, and Brad Peterson, he was at Brandon High School when I recruited one time. They were playing against Oak Grove, and Brett Favre was the OC for Oak Grove. So I got to go on the sideline for that game and recruiting. And when I moved back here, Brad just got the head job at Madison Central. So he said, man, I remember, we remembered each other from recruiting and everything like that. And so first job, so I came back. I'm up there with him. And so that was a blessing to be, a blessing for me to move back here. Boom, I got my first get back into coaching. So 8 years on the college level. Now I come back and grade in college on the high school level back here. High quality football, high quality sports, to an amazing school district. Yep. And then I go, he left after that 1 year and went to Mississippi State. So my defensive line coach got the defensive coordinator position at Pearl. He said, hey, man, come down here. So Chase Carmody got the job down there. So I came down to Pearl with John Perry, the head coach. First year, like I said, we lost the state championship game to Clinton, to Cam Akers and Clinton. Then the next year we went and we won it all. And so I spent 5 years at Pearl. Then I came back, and Toby Collins got the head job at Madison Central and said, hey, come on. So came up here to Madison, and it's been a blessing. It's been a true blessing, man, because I'm learning so much more than football. I'm the head track coach here as well, but I'm learning much more than football. He's allowing me to learn his day to day, because eventually, we all have goals, we all have aspirations, but I'm getting to learn firsthand from him because he's well respected throughout the entire state, and I'm getting to learn firsthand tidbits from him, man. It's been amazing, for my family and I'm just enjoying every moment and soaking up everything I can, because like I said, being on that college level for 8 years, now I'm being on the high school level. This is year 17 total coaching for me, year 17. And so you never stop learning. You never stop learning.
Yeah. Man, Coach, that's amazing. And I was just about to ask you, Coach, like, what year is this for you, Coach? Because I'm listening to this great resume, man. And man, it's an impressive resume. And I was like, man, Coach, been doing it for 17 years, man. You don't look like it at all, man. And that's kudos to you, man. But Coach, there's so much here, man, that I gotta definitely go back and break some of this down. Man, I hear so much about Flint, Michigan. Like you hear about it, and I guess, and I don't want to turn the conversation so much this way, but I can kind of relate to it. Obviously, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. Parents still live there, and some of the same things that we dealt with in the city of Jackson, they always make the comparison to Flint, Michigan. And when I heard about the water
Yes.
situation in Flint, I was like, man, that's kind of messed up, man, with the water situation. And then obviously, we've always had problems with our water system here. And then they making that comparison, and you think about it, and you hear some of those same stories about trying to make it out. And I remember, of course, Draymond Green talks about Flint, Michigan. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
reps it. It's another guy that represents Flint, Michigan very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Mateen Cleaves. You
Yeah,
got, Miles Bridges with Charlotte Hornet. So you got a plethora of them within the NBA. Then my cousin who played in NFL, Brandon Carr. So
yeah.
you have those, a lot of different ones all over from in the majors.
So with that being said, and my brother and I, Justin, we talk about this all the time, and we try to stay away from it. But we talk about just the way we were raised to give us that toughness, to give us kind of that shield. Like, do you feel like your upbringing gives you that mindset where it doesn't matter whatever comes my way, I know I can face it because there's so many things that I've seen or so many things that I've overcome. So I just carry that pride with me.
Oh yes, first and foremost, just being from Flint, being from that inner city Flint, and then also secondly was my mother.
Yeah,
Just having a mother at home, and she's showing me, hey, you look at how I'm doing it. I'm having 1 or 2, 3 jobs, whatever I have to do, just to make sure you're happy. And so
yeah,
she told me that, hey, you can get out of here, and then she was everything. Just like I said, not having a father growing up, she was that dual role. Mother's Day, Father's Day, it was her, no matter what. And so
yeah.
she was, she trained me and groomed me to be a well-rounded person and know that, hey, whatever comes your way, you can not go around it, you can go straight through it because it's going to make you a better person in the end.
And that's amazing, man, to be able to have mothers, man, and shout out to that, man, just being that base for you. So that kind of leads to my
Mm-hmm.
next question. So was that why you were so easily ready to be able to come down here and move to Mississippi and go to Alcorn because you had such a strong base? Because I don't think you've known is Flint, but with what you just told me, your mom instilled so much in you. Just growing up there gave you a lot, because some people are like, man, if I'm moving from one place to another, that's kind of a challenge. So did that give you
Mm-hmm.
courage to come down here and just be a part of just being a part of Alcorn and the brave nation, as they say?
I think so. My mom was, my whole family is really from South Carolina. And so when
Okay.
she graduated college, back in the day, she graduated from Benedict College. So when she graduated, she came to Michigan because it was a high need for teachers. So she did it. After she got out of college, hey,
Did the
I'm out
same.
of here because it's a high need up there. I'm gonna go up there. So she did it so I've learned from her path, and she was a teacher for 37 years before she passed away. But she already had that mindset in me. And see, I've walked this path. Now you can too. Step out of that box. That's big time for me and big time for the way who I am today, to help mold me to who I am today because of the way her path was, and you need to take that same path. Step out of there because too many times we get comfortable. We
Yeah.
get very, very comfortable, man. We don't want to step out. We're scared to step out because we don't know, like I said, that next step on that staircase, you don't know where it's going to go. But you got to have that faith and know that you're covered, that you're going to be okay.
Coach, I'm glad that you said that. And that's why I love the podcast, because that helps so many people out. Because especially during this time of season when people are thinking about, should I take this job? Should I apply for this
Mm-hmm.
job? Because when you
Mm-hmm.
apply for jobs, you really don't know the whole ins and out. You're going to know some, you're going to do your research, you're going to check the records. But again, it's almost stepping into an unknown. So I'm glad that our listeners can hear that. And hopefully our younger coaches can hear that you got to rely on some things that you've been given at an early age from maybe what your parents had, faith based. Those things
Mm-hmm.
make a difference. So I'm glad you said that, because I know when I applied for head coaching jobs early and still like that, you do have the uneasiness. Like, do I want to move 2 or 3 hours away? I got to think about trying to find somewhere to live. And of course, now I have a
Mm-hmm.
2-year-old daughter, so
Mm-hmm.
now I'm thinking about school and friends and who watch her if we can't
Right.
watch her. So, man, that's helping a lot, man. And I wish that I could learn. I would have learned some of those things earlier. But I'm glad I'm learning these things, because you realize you're really not in this battle alone. Everybody's kind of fighting. It just looks a little different, but everybody's fighting that
Mm-hmm.
battle. So I thank you for that. And so I want to talk about your days at Alcorn, because it was Coach Jay. Was it Jay Hobson? Is that right? The coach for Alcorn?
I was before that, way before
Okay.
that. So I was there with like the Ernest Jones was my first year, and
Ernest
then
Jones.
Ernest Collins was after that. So
Okay.
yes, sir. So it was before those days.
All
So
right. So
we were the ones that bring in. We had, like I said, from the the grass, the practice field, the painting the fields, man, it was
What year
yes,
was
it was,
it?
I want that was '07,
Oh,
06,
seven. Okay.
'07, '07.
Oh,
Yeah.
seven. All right. So okay, so
Yes.
you're right. So those are for the years before Alcorn really got kind of going after he had got there. But
Hmm.
you all had laid some groundwork there.
Oh
Think
yes.
about that. My uncle Lonzo Stevens, he coached at Alcorn. That was I think he was may have been the O line coach, maybe defensive line coach
Hmm.
when Steve McNabb was there, and that was in the early '90s. So again, Alcorn has always been rich in tradition when it comes to football in that area with that. And I know some of my Jackson State people may not be happy to talk about Alcorn football, but we got to represent the brand
Hmm.
with that. So let me ask you this. Now, when you first get down here, you hear all the rumors about what Mississippi is. They don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do this. Talk to us about some of those, like some of your early time experience with just being here in Mississippi,
Ooh, man, it was a little bit slower. I'm not gonna fly. It was a little bit slower.
Yeah.
I got down here, and then be the first impression was getting off on 61. You get on the stretch.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm like, man, it was late at night. I'm like, man, where am I going? Like, is the school anywhere near? Because the exits say the school's right here. Man, I'm on that stretch. Like, oh my goodness. So that was an early impression, man. It's like, man, where am I going? But then it just pop up to you, So that was good, but it was a huge learning experience because when we first got there, unlike now, man, our kids had nothing. They were dressing out of their cars. It was an experience of like a lifetime because it opened our eyes, as coaches,
yeah,
coming from a D1 school from Central Michigan down here. Like, man, this is light years different than what we're used to, And so the dressing out of cars, our first few days, I think the first few weeks, that first week of training camp, we told them wear a white T-shirt and black shorts because our practice stuff didn't come in yet. So it's like, man, but it helped me, ground me, and it gave me, a different view that everything's not going to be peaches and cream.
yeah,
You got to go through stuff, but it's going to make you stronger. It made those kids that much stronger. We brought in a quarterback from Canada, Brandon Bridge down there, man. And that was a big thing for the whole area because he lit it up when he got down there, and then brought in kids from Florida, from all over. But I think that was a huge transition piece early in my coaching career that allowed me to grow in the coaching world because everything's not going to be the same everywhere you go.
yeah, sure.
But like I said, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't have no regrets from coming down here. And it's been a blessing, like still here today. So it's been a blessing.
Man, that's cool. And I want to ask you something about that too. Let me ask this question first. What was your best experience about of course it was the Capital City, it might have been a Capital City Classic then, but
Hmm.
I don't know
Yep,
if it was
it was.
still. I know they changed the name recently, but what's the biggest thing you remember between that Jackson State and Alcorn matchup?
Man, at the end of the day, it was all love.
Yeah.
And, the rivalries on the field, the fans' rivalries. But at the end of the day, man, you can go in the parking lot, everybody tailgating together. So that was the biggest thing, man. Just everybody, it's knocking heads. You look because up north, the Michigan and Ohio State rivalry. Those big time rivalries up there, but it's the exact same. When you come down here, you compete on the field. Some fans are slam packed to get inside
Yeah.
hours in advance. But the rivalry is huge. But at the end of the day, it's all love. It's all
Yeah.
love, no matter what. You hear today, oh, you got a Jack State shirt on, oh, you got an Alcorn, they. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, they still know, hey, we're still HBCU love, and
Yeah.
that has grown so much, man. To see how that has taken off to the next few levels, to see them, excel, both teams excel. It's like, man, I remember when, a lot of people can't say that, but I remember when it was like this. And
Sure.
so, man, it's just a blessing to see, man, be coming back and show my kids that, and I love it.
Yeah, man, that is amazing, man. Like the rivalry is amazing. I've been going to the game probably since I've maybe been at least I can remember. So it's
Hmm.
been a great part of it. Now this is the part I wanted to ask, and I think this is great. And I really didn't expect this question, but it's a good question. And I want to talk about like the Coach Prime effect. But I know you can kind of
Hmm.
speak to it almost because you saw it also firsthand and you saw it before Coach Prime saw it. When you're looking at the comparison, you still have two college football programs. Obviously, they're in different conferences. Obviously, they're in different levels when it comes to the particular areas when it comes to playing football. And you're seeing the needs of both programs. You're seeing some of the wants of both programs, but you're also seeing what other programs don't have, which also helps create and foster success. So when you look at
Mhm.
those comparisons, how do you think it has changed, if it has changed any, from when you were coaching at Alcorn, obviously coming from Central Michigan, and then also leaving, and then you saw when Coach Prime came in and he put a spotlight, as they say, and some people kind of took offense to it, and some, and what I mean by that is the
Mhm.
older school guys were saying, like, we have had these players before, like we've been on ESPN before. And I
Mhm.
think they initially, and some of the, even the SWAC coaches, I think they took that initially offensive. But I think what he was trying to say is, I'm just trying to give you, expand that light
Mhm.
on something. Like, not saying y'all haven't been doing it, but giving you, because I think he was really shocked by it, coach, when he got down here and saw, we don't have a training room, the kids don't have their
Mhm.
own dorm, or they don't have their own food plan, or we don't have anywhere to practice, and we got to do all these different things. So I would like to hear your perspective, because we've heard Coach Prime, but I know you've also lived it and you've done it. Talk to us about that, Coach. Just the difference between them.
I think, man, one thing I think that it goes back to stepping outside of your box, your comfort zone. I think he came in and did that. He came in and gave these kids, you deserve this.
Yeah,
You deserve the same thing the kids at Alabama get. You deserve the same thing at Georgia, at Mississippi State are getting. And he just shined more. He just turned that light bulb a little bit more lighter than what it was.
there
And
it
people
is.
that were, I hate to say people from older they don't like change. They don't
Yeah.
like people coming from outside of the SWAC. Sometimes they don't. He came outside and open that up a little bit more. And so what he did, man, he gave these kids what they deserve.
Mhm.
They come on a scholarship. They deserve to get the same type of meal plans these bigger schools are getting. And so, like I said, we did that when we brought in kids from Florida and, like I said, from Canada, but
Mhm.
he did it to a much bigger magnitude and brought more exposure. Yes, the exposure, yeah, it was 1 or 2 games on ESPNU. Now
Mhm.
also they were on ESPNU and they were tape delayed half the time.
Yeah.
All he did was bring more notoriety. So you bring somebody to the end of that magnitude to come in to shine light on this conference. And I think it was more so about the kids and not about himself. Everybody may see, yeah, he's on TV. Yeah, he's on TV to shine this conference, to school, and it's much needed. You look at the enrollment at every single SWAC school, it has jumped tremendously, because of his effect on it. So it's not really about him. It's about these kids and giving them what they deserve. Because if you're on a scholarship at Jackson State and he's on a scholarship at Mississippi State, they deserve the same thing.
Yeah.
They're both on scholarship, so you should treat them that way. He brought in a trust, and people trusted in him because of who he is. And sometimes it
Mhm.
takes a celebrity like that to come in and to do that. But he brought in a trust and a system to understand, hey, these kids deserve more, and he did that. And I'm truly, and being a person that coached in the SWAC, and I understand that, I respect that to a T. And now he's doing that at Colorado. The exact same thing. The exact same thing. He's doing it out there.
True.
They haven't won that many games in years, but he brought that back. He's bringing that back. And so I think, man, and now you got TC Taylor at Jackson State, he's going to continue that mode. Yeah, I got the blueprint. Let's keep it going. And so now
True.
everybody can. All different schools are, the Prairie Views, the Southern, everybody else. And now you got Mickey Joseph at Grambling coming in. I've known him for years,
Yeah.
and so you got people that are just uplifting it now. He set the foundation. Hey, let's go. The sound foundation, yes, it's been set many, many years ago because you had the Walter Paytons of the world, the
Yeah.
Jerry Rice of the world. But all he did was shine a little light, a little bit brighter, so everybody else can see it. Now you're not just seeing it in the South, you're seeing it all over the country. And it's been, man, it's been amazing just to watch and see him do that and watch him work and watch the SWAC continue to grow and prosper.
I like what you said, Coach, and I think that blends both generations together. I think you said it perfectly. I'm gonna have to steal that from you. Like, you're not denying that it wasn't there. He just turned the light on just a little bit brighter. So not taking away
Mm-hmm.
from what all the other work and the foundation that others have laid. He just again just
Mm-hmm.
shined a little bit better. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying better. He just shined a little bit brighter to just
Right.
excel already going on. So,
Right.
Coach, I like that. I think that
Mm-hmm.
made it clear because, and like I know, I think we get caught up too much in fighting of words of this and that. I think at the end
Yeah.
of the day, we just trying to say the same thing. It's just easy. So I thank you for that, man. So because my
Yes,
dad
sir.
sometimes
Yes, sir.
he said, "Man, we've been doing this a long time before we got here. So now we can have this conversation. You are right, Pop.
Right.
Just so you helping me out, man.
Yes, sir.
Um, so let's kind of just transition a little bit more, Coach. So I'm looking at just going back through your notes. now you at the college level. Let me ask you this personally: Does it hit you a little bit different that you gotta kind of leave that college era and kind of come down to high school, or does it really bother you or not? Or how do you kind of take that? And the reason I'm saying that, coach, is because one day I would like to be a college coach. Not sure if that's the calling God has for me, but I would like that. But
Mhm.
you started at college and then you transitioned to high school. And I know you probably got aspirations to get back there, and we can talk about that later. But did that make you
Mhm.
feel some type of way, or was it a transition, or how did that process work for
It was a transition, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's football. Football is football, no matter what level you're on. And yes, I do have aspirations of wanting to get back up there and there in the NFL level, both of them.
you?
But my calling is right here, and right now. And so yeah, I get more time with my kids. I'm teaching. Now, and I loving that part of it. You're teaching the game.
Teaching the
And when you're in college level, they're already polished. I mean, you just making sure just polishing up a little bit more, little technique, little things in here, but you're teaching it. And so I'm loving that part of it, man. And just like I said, being able to get these kids, and now like with me, my players know I've been on that level, so they can come
okay.
to me with any question they may have. Like I
Mhm.
said, send me your highlight tape before you post it on social media, because you got 5 seconds. That first play better be impactful.
Yeah.
You got 30 seconds to sell yourself. So I make sure you're selling yourself the right way. Don't just post something just to think, oh, this is a good play. Well, you didn't even make the play. So like you just on the field. So I had them say, send me your highlight tape before you post anything. Send it to me. Let me edit it. Let me get you right. Let me make sure it's the way it should be polished right before you post it. Because like I said, you're selling yourself. This is a job. You want to go to the next level, it's a job. So you got to be, that first impression is everything. Because like I tell the kids all the time, when I made my highlight tape back in the day, it was 2 VCRs and push play and push pause, So that's how I made mine. So now it's totally different now. And so I just try to impact and uplift these kids and help them know, hey, you say you want to make it to the next, you want to go to the next level, but you got to do X, Y, and Z. Every practice is filmed. Every little rep is being watched. And so that's what I think I can bring to these high school kids. It's been amazing, and they trust me because my coaches trust me. The kids trust me because I've been there and I know what they're looking for.
Yeah. Man, coach, that's amazing, man. And I'm listening to this. I know, again, my brother and I, we talk about this all the time. Like when we talk about our majors, when you major in wanting to be a coach or a teacher, there's some more things that I think they probably should implement, or I would like to see them implement. Like editing video should be a part of something that's part of our curriculum, or just
Mm-hmm.
certain things,
Mm-hmm.
because you are right.
Mm-hmm.
Those could be tools that we can already have going into the coaching world. And of course, most of us kind of know it anyway because we are pretty at our age with tech savvy. But it'll be
Mm-hmm.
something just to make sure that we are on that same line of getting our kids successful. And what we talk about really is like getting a bus license, because we know a lot of our peers at some schools, and people don't realize this, and I didn't realize this because when I first started teaching, I taught at Murrah High School. So we didn't have you didn't
Mm-hmm.
they had a system where they drove the bus. But when I got to Germantown, you had to get a bus license, and a lot of people get held up because they don't have that CDL license.
Yep.
And we were just talking about it'd be cool, like in our majors, if they allowed when they're in college, you go ahead and start working on your CDL. So now when you hit the job interview, you got your CDL, obviously you got your teacher license, and now you're so further ahead. Because one thing that was tough
Mm-hmm.
for me is when I first got that job at Germantown, I spent that whole summer trying to get a CDL, trying to go back to practice, trying to move, relocate. So if I could just have one less thing
Mm-hmm.
on my plate, it'd be good. So we just thinking about maybe tweaking those things. And we always talking sports all the time.
Hey, that's major. That's actually, you know what? I'm going through that same thing right now. I've been working on I'm working on trying to get that, because, like I said, coming from college level, coming to high school, I didn't know nothing about no CDL or teaching certificate, anything like that at all. So I'm
Yep.
actually in the process of I got the CDL app, so I got to go take that test pretty soon, and then try to go through bus school this summer. But
That's what's
and nobody taught us that, and especially for me coming from, usually you go from high school level to college level. I came the opposite way, so I had
yeah.
no clue about any of that. And so instead of trying to pay somebody out your budget, man, you gotta go about that. And like I said, nobody's taught us. And so I think that's big time right there. That definitely needs to be taught and instilled in our young people, because especially if you don't have it, you're already 2 steps back anyway.
You
So when
already
you
up.
step into that table, you're already 2 steps back. So you gotta make some headway somewhere. So yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, man, that's very major, man, and it's just a part of it though. man, pray you do well on that, man. You'll probably do better than
Yes.
me, man. I struggle, a lot of times on that test, man. But what I did, which I should have done, is I tried to go through and skim through that book, man. I could do this, man. I'll pass the driving test, but now when you take that book test, man, they're gonna make sure you know every single thing. So I'm,
Everything. I was like, man, you gotta learn about a tractor trailer. I'm trying to a bus.
yeah,
What this gotta do? You know?
you know, having hazards on the. I'm like, man, we ain't gonna have no
Yeah.
hazards on the bus, man. I'm like, man, come on, man. But it just, I love it. We helping folk out, man.
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
so let's
Yes.
talk about Coach, man. You've been at two major high schools, man. When it comes to like football here in the state of Mississippi, obviously both programs have state championship, and really, of course, of course, you started off at Madison Central, right? And then Pearl, then
Yes.
Madison Central, is
Yes.
that right? So
Yes.
know that at that time, I don't even know if Pearl had a state championship before y'all won that one, probably did. But at both programs, state championship is a goal each and every single year. So and of course Brad Peterson, man, he's a legend here in the state of Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Peterson family in general, when it comes to football, when it comes to the Brandon high schools of the world, Madison Centrals,
Yep.
obviously transition, like you said, in Mississippi State. So, Coach, talk to us about big level football in the state of Mississippi, and then we'll kind of transition back to your time right now in Madison Central. But just talk to us about coaching at the highest level and the expectations that are there, because you know it like I know it. Even though this is high school football, and I know we may not be like Texas football, as people say, that's kind of the mecca of football in California and Florida, but it's major here as well. Like it's like you win a couple years, and we're gonna find a new coach in high school. So talk to us about big
Yeah.
time football.
Man, it's expected. Yeah, that's the
Yep.
biggest thing. So it's expected, not just to go to playoffs, but you better go far in that playoffs. You can have a
Yep.
8-4 season, and they like, man, what's going on? Like whereas, but it's expected, man. You're viewed as like a junior college. You're viewed as that because of the resources you have. You have the endless resources. You're expected to go far in the playoffs and win a championship every couple years. So I think that microscope is on you as a big time school, and don't let you win it one time. They expect you to win it every single year after that. Not
That's true.
understanding the rebuild and reload you have to go through, but it's
Yeah.
expected for you to do great things, and and to much is given, much is required. You're there for that level on that level for a reason, and so I think that's it's been great for me because coming from college to the high school level to this type of high school where it's driven in you. You gotta be great, and so. But you, like I said, you're expected to do great things, and the kids live up to it. The kids love it, man. And so every week we truly say that now 7A is the SEC because every week is competition. There's no
It is.
easy week at all. Every week, every single week. And so it's like the SEC West. So we call it that all the time. And that's how that's how you take it. That's how you tell your kids. That's the mindset you got to have, that you're playing in the SEC of high school football. And that's the mindset you have to have every single week. You can't take 1 week off because that 1 week, they slip up.
That's true. I mean, and that's important though, and everybody knows, especially we kind of hone in on Madison Central now. Everybody has known that football in that particular, especially coach, y'all district, like the district at Madison Central is always in, and it always has been. It's always been a district when you look at being in there with, and I could be wrong now, but I know I've always been there with Clinton and the Warren Centrals of the world, and of
Mm-hmm.
course
Mm-hmm.
I know this year, I know y'all didn't have a Starkville, or y'all never Tupelo, is it Tupelo as well?
Tupelo. Yep. We got both of them. Yeah.
So man, when you have all of those teams, and like you say, now with 7A, with it being such even a smaller pie, it's even that much more competitive because every team pretty much in 7A is a pretty solid team when it comes to that. And of course, just Madison Central, man, with everybody, we hear the stories about the Big Blue, and of course, we know the beautiful turf that you
Mm-hmm.
all have, beautiful facility
Mm-hmm.
and weight room, like all of those things come with it. So Madison
Mm-hmm.
Central football carries a name within itself. So coach, just talk about just just the brand of Madison Central. Like I can remember Madison Central going back to '99 when they beat Provine High School for the state championship, and
Mm-hmm.
of course being from Jackson, we were excited that we just had a team that could compete in the state championship. And of course Madison kind of takes that from us in '99. And I know it had been a long time since Madison Central had won one. I know you all won one a couple of years. Was it 2 years ago y'all won one? Was it
2 years
was it
ago, yes.
2 years
Yep.
ago? Was anyone between them, or was it '99 then the one y'all won 2 years ago? Was it one in between
I
that?
think that was it. I think that was it. I want to say, if I
No,
can remember. I
I'm
know it
trying to
went
make
back a
sure.
couple, with I
Yeah,
think
I was
so. I
trying to
think
tell
that's why I've been
you, right.
next, but yeah.
So when you look at that, coach, talk to us just about that brand, because like you said, at Madison Central, and what was the coach in the name in Madison Central for a long time? I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me. But
Yeah,
again,
Mike Justice, probably Mike Justice or Bobby Hall. Probably
yeah,
Mike
Mike
Justice
Justin.
probably was the one.
Yep,
Yeah.
Mike Justin, Bobby Hall. Like
Yeah.
Bobby, like
Mm-hmm.
Coach Hall, he had always got close, and a lot of times on his journey with that, they ran like this was a rule that I'm not sure if they changed it yet, but when and you know this, Coach, when you had to flip gears on which who had a home game, like it could be two number one
Mm-hmm.
seed, and that one seed may have to go and play at their field or vice versa. And a lot of times that came down to who won that game, especially them times when South Panola was very, very good. So
Mm-hmm.
Madison had always been close for a lot of years, going from 99 until y'all won it 2 years ago. But we always knew what was the brand and what was the staple of that. So, Coach, just kind of give us an inside view about what it looks like on being a part of just Jaguar Nation um, when it comes to just football.
You got a lot of rich tradition there. From guys going to the next level to Chris Spence. You got guys going to the next level from the Florida community. That's number one. When you talk about the Madison football, you want to talk about the Florida community because that's where a lot of your athletes come from, as well as Madison. But that's a big time community for you as well for that for Jaguar Nation. And it's an honor and pleasure to be coaching there because you can't take it for granted. Many coaches we say we are the standard. And so we take pride in that. And every day we come in that weight room, every day we get on that field, we're taking pride in we are the standard. We are where people want to be at. And so we have to take that and don't take it for granted because it can be taken away from you at the drop of a dime.
Yeah.
And so at Madison, you take pride, in that weight room, we everything's precise. Everything's on that field is precise because you are the standard. And so people are always watching. They want you to slip. Some people want you to slip up. A couple of years ago, we played Brandon in the state championship. Man, that was an amazing atmosphere. And we was like, man, what if they would have played this game in Jackson? That would have been amazing for the entire community. That stadium would have been sold out.
It would have.
Because I think they had the playoff game, the SWAC championship game. So why the reason they had to move it that year. But man, that just, you look at those rivalries from Brandon to us versus Brandon, us versus Clinton. Those are going to be packed no matter what. And so you're going to have packed games. And so when kids come play for us, you have to understand, you have to live up to this expectation that you're playing for Madison Central football, that name across your chest, because many of them couldn't do it. Many can't play for them because of the high demand that it is to play for Madison Central. Because you will have packed games every single week. That tailgate area is going to be slam packed. The bleachers are going to be slam packed from beginning to end. So you have to live up to those expectations. But however, it's an honor because of you're at Madison Central. And so that being that standard, and taking pride in that, it goes a long, long way. Long way.
Yeah, it really does, Coach, and I like that. And again, I didn't really understand the rich tradition of what Flora brings to Madison Central. And I'm glad you shouted them out because a lot of times they do get overlooked. We don't look at the residents of Madison, the city of Madison, but we do know that Flora community sometimes don't always get their shine. So I thank you for even just recognizing them because it is vital to what Madison does, man. Not just on the football field, the basketball court, but the volleyball court, but also academically as well. So that's important. I like how you said the SEC West because that is true. Just going back to what you said, because even in my basketball district, I kind of consider us to be in a tough spot when you get us with Raymond, Wingfield, and near Macomb. Because when it got down to the last 8 teams of 4A, 3 of those teams came out of our district.
From there.
And for the state championship of 4A, it was 2 teams from my district, Macomb versus Raymond. So, and I was trying to tell our kids that, like, if we can find a way to compete, we put ourselves in a good chance to be successful because you see the standard that's being set every week from January to February with district play. And so it's important to have that. It's a big target to have on your back. It's tough, but it's the grind that makes it a difference. So I don't really understand. I don't know if people really, really understand that. And it is major when that happens. So that's amazing that you all see that because it is a lot. And when I look at you all schedule, and of course, when I went to Murrah High School. So Madison Central was always in our district. And of course, we hated seeing Madison because they were just tough and they had a little bit more than what we had. Now we had a lot of guys that competed. I can remember when I went back and taught at Merle, we had Malik Deer, man, and Malik Deer gave Madison Central all that he can handle, but it was just him. But he had that much respect. But we wanted those games against Madison because there again, it was a standard that we wanted to kind of overcome. And we talk about scheduling all the time, and scheduling is important. When I look at you all schedule, I think it's important because you may not go undefeated. And I know Coach Tadlock from Raymond, we talk about this all the time about scheduling. Like you got to go out and schedule tough teams. You got to go out and put yourself in a predicament where you have to travel on the road. You might have to travel 2 or 3 hours away. Those things are a difference maker. So kind of talk to us about like scheduling. How do you all, and I'm not sure if that's probably in your role or lane, but I know you probably have some input in it. Like how do y'all come together and just put a schedule together? Because your district is already tough now. The previous years you had a couple games in there where you all probably know that probably was going to be a win, but you don't really have as many of those now that 7A has kind of smaller and made the pot smaller. But how do y'all look at scheduling in that manner of it?
Man, we want to make sure we put our guys in the best situation. We want to because you're going to play young guys no matter what. So you want to make sure you're playing against tough competition in the preseason where you can say the non-district games. So we load ours up. We don't just play. We're not going to just play 1A or 2A schools. Those 3 or 4 games. That's not going to make you better. Yeah, it's going to make your head bigger going into district. Then it's going to get brought back down when you get in the district play. But we want to make sure we're playing high competition no matter what. I think with this year we start off with Ocean Springs, Brandon, Gulfport. You're getting your top national team to play against. Because that's going to help you out in the long run. Because now you want to see, okay, that's your measuring stick. We use those non-district games as a measuring stick to see where we are before we head to district play. What do we need to change before we get to district play? Because that's what really matters. Yeah, you can go 0-3, 0-4 in your non-district, and then win your district and go to state championship. Nobody's going to remember those 0-3 games. So you want to make sure you're getting your guys prepared and ready at an early stage in the season. So like I said, for us, we go to Ocean Springs this year. We got Gulfport at home. We played at Brandon and we got Gulfport at home. So number one, we're getting our guys on the road, but now you're getting them ready for a long road trip all the way down to Ocean Springs to prepare themselves. Because you never know in the playoffs, you might got to go all the way up to South Haven or way up. We went to Lewisburg this past year. But our guys are prepared to know how to act and conduct themselves because you did a long road trip early in the season. So those things, man, play a huge part. We learned that at Pearl a few years ago. We didn't play any long road games, and we had a long road game to go to Harrison Central in the playoffs. And our guys weren't prepared because of that long bus trip. Their minds, they're not prepared for that. And so I think, man, that plays a huge part. And I love how Coach Collins, him and Miss Celeste, Brown, they do that is they get our team prepared for the playoffs by doing that. And so I think that's huge. Playing tough competition, but you're also playing at least one long road game to get your guys used to that, to get them prepared for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's important too, and I'm glad you said that because you have to be able to know, you got to know your team, and you got to be able to create scenarios for your team. And that's one thing that I look back at my previous job at Pisgah High School. We had a great season the year before I left, and I knew we were going to be pretty solid, but I didn't know how good we were going to be. Like we only lost like 4 games that year. And the last game we lost was to Coahoma County, which is a powerhouse in basketball. And we never thought we would be in that moment. And we had a big lead on them. Obviously, we end up losing that lead and we lose that game. And that team, Coahoma, that year goes on to win the state championship. But when I look back at it, if I would have put another team on that schedule that may have been similar to Coahoma County and maybe put us in a situation where we know that we probably had to fight from being down or maybe have that lead, maybe that game is a little bit, it comes out, maybe the result may be a little bit different because we hadn't, because again, Coahoma County, they had won 3 or 4 championships probably within a 5 to 10 year span. So they had that pedigree. We were still young and still rising. And so I kind of look back at that. And I always tell coaches, you have to adjust your schedule based on where you perceive your team to be. If you know that you have a chance to win that state championship, you need to put yourself on long road trips. So you need to go to hostile environments where your
Yes.
team can perform.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're a young and
Mm-hmm.
upcoming team, you don't want to put your whole schedule in them environments and you confidence
Yeah.
get demolished. So don't fall into that where you got to play tough team to be better. Your team has to be one of those tough teams, I think, in my opinion, to do that environment. You don't run away from competition, but at the same time, if you know your team is not there yet, don't kill
Mm-hmm.
your team. And like you said, especially more in football than basketball, you know what you're doing, but them fans and that booster club, they're like, I don't know about that. So
Right.
you got to be smart about what you're doing in there. So I thank you for sharing that. And I do like that though, man. Again, the way y'all tailgate is amazing, man. I've seen how you do it, man. And coach,
Mm-hmm.
I know just looking at some of the research and talking to some people, man, I know them spots for them tailgate spots, man, they get very competitive and people
Hey.
want spots, man. And again, y'all just do something different in Madison, the Big Blue. They do some great
Mm-hmm.
things, man. But it get competitive by the tailgate spot from what I've heard.
Yes. Yeah. As soon as they open up, man, as soon as the auction open up, I think it's like 8 o'clock or whatever time it is,
Yeah,
and they
man.
on there quickly.
I know, man. Yeah, I had a lot of conversations. We probably talk about that off screen, man. But I heard that it goes like that. So, but again,
Yes.
it's the brand and it's just what they're doing. So I'm just super excited about it, man. Again, we talked about it earlier. I know my cousin, man, she coaches the girls basketball, Coach Brown, man, of course, man. So I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people in the Madison area. Of course, we talked about Dr. White. We went to school together. William Carey. So just a lot of good people, man. Dr. Birchfield,
Oh
man.
yes.
You know, knew him when I was in high school because he coached. And I hope I ain't dating you too much, Doc. But he was a high school, he was an
Yeah.
assistant coach. He was assistant coach with the boys, and of course now he's back leading the Jaguars when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
the school. So we're just excited about that, man. So just looking forward to just continue all to see good things, Coach. I got two more questions on the football thing. I want
Oh,
to
you
talk about
good?
a little bit more track. Coach, talk to us about what makes Coach Toby Collins, what makes him the coach that he is, because I know because was he at Northwest first? Is it Northwest ranking
Yes.
before?
He was at Northwest before here. Yes.
I know he probably was a lot of places before, but that's when I first kind of
Mm-hmm.
got on the radar about who he is as a football player and as a man. I saw him a couple of years at the MAC conference when he won Coach of the Year through the MAC, so I was able to kind of see him. He always dressed nice, always dressed fly. I mean, suits are always, just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him personally, but I've seen him. So just kind of give us some insight and just kind of shout out, tell us some things about him, but also too kind of talk about some more people maybe on your staff and some just more of the Madison environment, because like I tell people all the time, when people come on these podcasts, they love to see the person that they're coming to watch, and people love to kind of hear their names. So name dropping is always kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't your whole Coach Robinson forget somebody's name because there's so many people. But Coach, just talk to us definitely about um, Coach and just some of the people that y'all work with every day.
I think, man, Coach Collins is an amazing man, amazing father, amazing mentor, amazing man in general. The way he leads the team, the way he leads being an athletic director and a head coach. He's not a micromanager. I hired you, do your job. I'm not gonna be looking over your shoulder. I trust you, and just do your job. So he's easy, man. It's just a huge open door policy. Come to
Yeah,
him by any and everything. He's right there. And some coaches say that, but he lives it. He lives
yeah,
it. He's for the kids, man. He wants to do whatever he got to do for these kids to help these kids get successful. And his coaches. He's not going to shy you away from, well, coach, I want to go interview for this job. Should I apply for it? Yes, go. Go do it. I got your back. I'll help you in teaching you what you need to know to get yourself ready for it. He's an amazing man. Like I said, I love working for him. I wish I would work for longer than I have, but it's been amazing. Our coaching staff is one of a kind. That's why I was talking to another coach at another school the other day, and I said, man, he said, how is it hard working at Madison? I said, no. I said, no coach has an ego on that staff whatsoever. Every coach is there for one reason over, and that's those kids. And so we take pride in that. We take pride in building relationships with every single kid, white, black, it does not matter. And so
yeah,
every coach, from our offensive coordinator, Coach Finley, to our defense coordinator, Coach Livingston, our O-line coach is hands down the best O-line coach in the state. He's been doing it for years. That's Mike Hendershot. And so our coaches have been doing an amazing job with our players. Our strength coach, Tate Rogers, he gets those guys in there. And the thing about him is he demands a lot from them in that weight room, but he's going to do it with you. He's going to show you the way it's done. And that's why our kids love that, in the weight room. We eat, breathe, and those weights, and so we take pride in that, but it all comes down to, you look at the principals at the elementary school levels. For me, I teach at East Florida Elementary. So my principal, Dr. Peoples, is one of a kind, because that's where a lot of our athletes come from. For me, I'm the only male teacher in the building. And I'm the only I'm the only male that majority of those kids ever see. A lot of them come from single parent homes. So a lot of them, I'm what they see. So now the way Coach Collins has it built up is he has me on the elementary level. We have some coaches at the middle school, some at the ninth grade school, some at the high school. So now you're seeing our coaches all the way up. That's not like that at a lot of other schools. So he has it built that way. So now I'm that father figure at that school for those kids, boys and the girls. So they see me every single day, from hugs to everything. They know they have somebody in there. And then when they get to middle school, oh yeah, you were with me at the elementary school. When they get to high school, now I'm seeing a kid that played for me when I coached at Madison before. His daughter's at the elementary school now. Like, man, this is full circle, But getting that, the way they got it set up, man, the way he has it set up is amazing. Then now you're going to see that male figure early in life all the way up. You're going to see our coaches all the way up through your whole school journey. And so I love that about, from my principal at the elementary school to the middle school, to the Rosa, to the high school. And that's the way Coach Collins has it set up for our kids to succeed. And I'm teaching them, hey, at the elementary level, I'm teaching them it's more than just football and basketball. I'm teaching volleyball, badminton, spike ball, pickleball, teaching sports they're not used to. Yeah. And so now, man, it's been, now they're learning so much more in life, man. It's so much more than football. That's all they want to do. Free play of football. That's all they want to do. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to learn other things, but that's going to make you grow in the long run. And now we got a guy coming back in the Florida area trying to get the youth football team back going. And so now, man, it's starting to get back to how it was. And so I'm tremendously, thankful. It's God sent. I trust him in everything that I do. And seeing all my trust in Coach Collins and his and the administration up there, because they allowed him to stagger the coaches like that. Number one, but number two is been beneficial to these young men and women.
That's good, man. I'm about to get Coach Collins on the show, man, one day, man. And the whole staff, man. So, Coach, that's amazing, man. And that's the importance of talking and communicating, because that's really where it starts. When you can set a pipeline on where you're trying to get your kids to go. You can give them a beginning, but you can give them an opportunity to be able to see what the end can kind of look like, especially when young kids are very impressionable at that age. So you're able to kind of teach them and mold them. And that's very good. And I shout out to you for enhancing those sports. Coach Church and I at Richland High School, we do the same thing. We take change sports every 2 weeks. We got our pickleball a little bit earlier. We're doing golf right now. And they ain't really liking the golf. Okay. Pickleball, they were okay with it. It's pretty cool, though. But you got to introduce them to sports.
Yeah, it is.
They get to enjoy it. So it's kind of cool, though. We get out there with them. So sometimes people give us a hard time as PE coaches. All y'all do is throw a basketball out there. But there's some of us still do that. But it's some of us that do kind of do it, man. So like I told them all the time, somebody actually told me this. We both had an option of what we want to major in. So you might have chose English or biology or science. I just chose
so you
don't get mad at me now. You still had an opportunity, but
right.
Our teachers on English, history, science, they're doing it, math. Everybody's playing their part. So I appreciate that. Coach, talk about the track, man. Of course, this is kind of where you be able to put your initial stamp on it, because again, you are leading these. Are you just for the boys, or is it boys and girls, or just the boys side?
Man, I'm the head boys and girls varsity coach. I'm the head boys and girls, So
I didn't want to make sure I leave our young ladies down. Like, talk to us about now your process into it. Of course, I know you've been in lead a lot of different times, so I know the title of head coach is just not a thing that just takes you just out of anywhere. Like, you're a very humble guy. But talk to me about, how do you establish your program? Like, this is Coach Robinson's program. Like, talk to us about it, Coach, because again, and I'm gonna let you kind of brag about it. I don't want to take it from you. I'm not gonna say brag about it. I want you to recognize it because, Coach, y'all been doing some great things on that track side of it too, Coach. That some people don't. It kind of gets overshadowed a little bit because of so many
Mm-hmm.
other things that go on at Madison Central. But, Coach, y'all been doing some things on that program and the track
Mm-hmm.
side of it too. So, Coach, talk to us about your program, how you established it, and just brag about what you've been doing, or just share what you have been doing on that track side of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Nick Griffin, one of my closest friends. He was the head track coach before he took the head job to go to Perry Central this past year. And so him, man, this is him going in, hey, this is who y'all need to hire as your head track coach right here. So him putting that stamp on it, and then me just learning from him the last couple of years, that's my guy, and we talk every single day. But then now taking over the boys and the girls, I would be nothing without our staff. We have, man, probably about 9 coaches on our coaching staff for track. Every from distance to, we have a distance coach, we have a pole vaulting coach. We got, so I'm so blessed to have the staff that I have. Like I said, it's not about me whatsoever. Whatever I need to get done, I'm gonna get done. We had having track practice over spring break, and I just had one of my coaches text me not too long ago. This is the best turnout we've ever had over spring break. So that's a testimony to us and a communication to our kids and our parents. Yes, we're top 3 program in the state. You got Pearl, you got Clinton, but we're right there coming. We're right there behind those two, and we take pride in being. We know we're the standard in football. We want to be the standard in football, basketball, track, everything. So we're going to continue to thrive and continue to grow our program. We take one thing I did differently this year. You look at football, you look at all these other sports, they have practice uniforms. How about, let's get, Coach Collins came to me before spring break, said, hey, man, let's get practice uniforms for track. I said, I'm all for, let's do it. So now our track team's having practice uniforms. So now they're looking like one. Now they're not trying to figure out what I'm going to wear today for practice. No, everybody's going to have the exact same thing going when we go out there to practice. We have a practice schedule. My coaches get done. It has to be done every single day. We take pride in what we're doing because this is ours. This is this is my baby. This is our baby. It's not about me, but from our coaches, from our hurdle coaches to our throwing coaches. We take pride in our kids, and our kids need to be, we want to be like everybody else. What can we give it? Okay, we're going to treat you just like every other sport. No matter how much money you're bringing in, we treat you like that's how you deserve to be taught. I want to make sure our kids have everything they need to be successful on that track. And for me, I never stop learning. I never stop learning from the Hines coach to some of our former athletes that used to run there. I have one when I talk to all the time, Destiny Richardson. She was a heck of a track star when she was there. Now she runs track at Hines. She's, hey, what y'all doing over there? What type of workouts y'all doing? I'm leaning on others. I have no issue with that. Some people put their pride in the front of their self. Like, man, not me. I'm going to continue to learn no matter what, because I want to perfect myself and make myself better and help these young people out. So, we take, from workouts to taking them different places to where they need to go, to helping them get recruited. It's a different type of recruiting in track than it is with football, but we're trying to get them seen. And I take pride in posting ourselves on social media, having our social media pages. But I think, like I said, I wouldn't be nothing without our coaching staff. Our coaches, from Coach Schuster to Coach Hargis to Coach Cook, all of our coaches do such an amazing job together as one. I have a couple basketball coaches, Coach Mercer, Robin Ray Mercer. She's come over from girls basketball. She helps us out. So we got coaches from other sports, mingling in there. And when you combine everybody for the exact same, if everybody know what the exact same end goal is, it's endless. And again, it goes back to how our football staff is. Nobody has egos, and it carries over to other sports as well. That's the one thing about Madison, man. You put people together, no matter where they come from, everybody has the same end goal. And that's a testament to our administration again, because you're bringing in people. Yeah, everybody wants to be a head coach one day, but while I'm here, as they say, I'm be where my feet are. I'm gonna be where my feet are, and that's what it's about. So we take pride in that and getting these kids, excelling these kids, and for them to be there over spring break. Like I said, I know my distance kids, wherever they at, they're gonna be running because they don't need no track. They just need some road, some gravel. They run no matter what. But for our track, our sprinters, to be there to get some extra help in from. I got a couple people coming in to help them out this week, and so, man, it's amazing. It's amazing how leaps and bounds this track program has taken off.
Yeah, Coach, That is, and I like what you said, man. There are some schools that are strong in what they do track wise when it comes to like the two that you named, Clinton and Pearl.
Hmm.
And it's just amazing. Like I just been keeping up, and again, I'm a sports guru, like junkie. I like it, and I've been watching how Clint has, been really doing some amazing things on the track side of it. Obviously, I know
Oh
Pearl, they
yes.
do an amazing job of what they've done, and of course, I saw what you all have done, like I said, the past couple of years, and I know that got to be some competitive nature in there, man. It's shout out to how y'all doing it, man. 'Cause I know it's some work being done, and like you said, I know Clinton is kind of sort of kind of leading the pack. I don't want to start no
Hmm.
issues, but I
Hmm.
know they do a
They
lot
are.
of
They
when they
are.
win titles. And I know I know I'm just imagining just as a coach and a competitive side. I know that them conversations are being had about like this is who we got to take out and this is what we got to do and this is what we
Oh
have.
yes.
To be honest, it really starts during cross country season, especially when it comes to those distance runners. Just being a former cross country.
Hmm.
So, man, just amazing what y'all are doing on that side, Coach. I really like the practice gear thing. I like that. Making me think about some things different while we're doing with our younger programs that we have here at the school out where I coach in
Hmm.
Richmond. So, I think that's important though. So just kind of make me think about some things about just overall about how to do things. Talk to me about track recruitment, coach. You said it's a little bit different than football, so kind of educate me and maybe some of our listeners about how does track recruitment, what does that look like at that level, or just in general for track?
You don't have a lot of film per se like you do in football. You got huddle assist and huddle and just drop it up there quickly. Well, you actually got to actually record a person, and get their stuff out there. There's no posting. I can post it on social media. It's gonna get out. No, you got to actually physically get it. Talk to these coaches. From William Carey to Hines and Meridian Community College. Talked to their coach not too long ago. And we got a couple guys at Mississippi College. I got two guys at Belhaven actually that run the track, that play football and run track over there now. But you got to actually physically go. It's more hands on than it would be in football. So just getting those out, man, which is good because now you're getting back to communications. You're not just posting. You got to actually talk to people. Communicate with them on a daily basis. And so, actually getting them recorded. It's tough to record somebody, but you got to actually get it recorded, go around that track and getting footage of them and getting it out and like I said, being active in it. And so that's the biggest difference in track recruiting and posting. You get it out there early because their recruiting periods are so different, and then your mind is always thinking about. But getting it out there, man, just helping these young people and just having those conversations. Like for myself, man, like I said, I'm always one learning. I'll contact Woody Barnett over at Pearl in a heartbeat if I have a question. Because to be the best, you got to beat the best. So I'm gonna go talk to the best. They've been doing it, them in Clinton, so I don't mind going to have. Hey, can y'all help me with this? I'm trying to learn more about this. They have no issue with that because that's why you have that network and those communication avenues. It helps you out so much more. So I don't mind going to seek help if I need it. And so that's what's been great for me, just communicating and talk to them. Hey man, how do y'all do with recruiting? How is it? I know you've been getting people out. What tricks can you give me? What tips can you give me? And so they've been well receptive of it. And so I've been taking that and running with it.
Man, that's good, man, and I think that's important, and that's another reason a part of the podcast, man, is that trying to build connections. A lot of times, I am getting so many insightful things, but when we can just break down the barrier and just talk, and I know we've been trained since we've been younger,
Yes.
like man, you are the enemy, man, nothing you can give me, nothing I want from you, boom, boom, boom. And that is good in and of itself when it comes
Mm-hmm.
in the lines. But when we step outside the lines, it's okay to be able to communicate and share those things. And we see that a lot with these younger athletes on a professional level. Like you see them work out together in the summertime. You see them maybe hang
Mm-hmm.
out outside of the court of the field. They do those things. And so that's one thing I'm trying to grow because, of course, I grew up in that culture where, hey, man, I don't want to know nothing from you. I don't want you to think of, but if we
Yeah.
just share, it's okay because you hear it all the time. It's enough knowledge to go around. It's enough wins to go around. It's enough success to go around. It's enough money to go around. So we don't have to feel like we gotta keep it all to ourselves because it's plenty
Mm-hmm.
to go around. So for you to be humble enough, and I'm glad you shared that it's okay, man, to get out and learn the game and understand it. Because coach, one thing that has helped me, I'm helping out with volleyball now, but one
Mm-hmm.
person I do lean on is a person I had on my podcast, Coach Walker. And so now, just talking to her kind of gave me a little inspiration. But now I help out with volleyball with Coach Osborne at Richland. But I know I don't know enough about volleyball, so I'm able to
Mm-hmm.
go and talk to her. And of course, my head coach, I'm talking to her every day. She's giving me things. She said, "Well, go out and branch out and meet other people so you can continue to be well
Mm-hmm.
rounded in all that you do." So, man, that's important that you can tell us that, hey, man, we got to get out and just ask people who doing it at a good level, man, how do you do that? And now,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, we can overcome them and beat them. But you know, why not sharpen iron? And that's biblical, iron sharpens iron. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I may be helping you,
Mm-hmm.
but I know in the back of my mind, I gotta constantly keep getting better because I know the young guy
Yes.
Robinson he's working hard at it, and that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, you took your words right out of my mouth. Iron sharpens iron, no matter
Yeah.
what. And from from track to basketball to football to whatever you're doing, it's all about who you surround yourself with. We talk about surround yourself with the like-minded people. Hey, surround yourself with the right people. I'm not gonna surround myself I'm gonna surround myself with somebody that's been winning, so I can be a winner. So I can learn from them because they know how to win. So let me go learn from them. I talk to all my connections, all my networks. I want to go out and learn as much as possible. You watch these different training videos and who's doing type of drills on social media. Are they connecting to the field? And am I, how can I translate them to the field and help myself out? Take it because, like I said, what they say, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So
Yeah.
if you somebody else doing the drill that you think is real good, I mean, you better take it and run with it.
That's true.
So I like that.
Yeah, that's one thing we do as coaches, man. People don't realize it. Man, a lot of what we do, but sometimes we've seen somebody else do that drill or we run that play. And man, it's nothing wrong with using that, man, because if something that you can use to help you, why not help you? And of course, put your own spin on it. And, give credit to what credit's due, but that's kind of
Oh
what we
yes.
do always. Coach, man, it's been a great conversation, man. I'm gonna wrap it up. I always ask this question to my basketball coaches, but I can kind of make this question fit. And I'm actually excited to hear this question. I always ask, like, on the basketball side, I ask, like, who's your all-time starting five? But I like this question because I've heard this kind of debated. And so I'm gonna ask you this on two phases. I'm gonna ask you about cornerbacks, and I may throw football in there when I may say the greatest of all time or who your top five, and then about track when it comes to just a track and field event. So, Coach, give me what's your top five cornerbacks just of all time in the NFL?
Ooh. Of course, you got to go with Deion Sanders, hands down. You got to go with him.
Yeah,
Number one. You got to go with him. You got to go Darrell Revis Island. Revis Island. You know, Charles Woodson was up there before they moved him to safety later in his career.
I forgot
But
Wilson. Yeah,
those three right there, are big time corners. We my cousin be mad if I didn't tell him Brandon Carr. So, but then have him put there, he'll say something to me. So,
I know. Shout
nah.
out. Shout
Oh yeah, man. For him, he learned from some greats, and he's what, a 14-year and didn't miss a start, didn't miss a game, 14
yeah.
straight years. He had the longest streak, so that was big time. Number five. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one right there. But I know with Deion at the helm, you're gonna be
Yeah.
good. You're gonna be good on him. So that's what I think.
Yeah, man. And people don't realize this, man. I played football when I was younger. That probably didn't count for real. And then I played some flag football, and I had to play cornerback, man. People don't realize, man, it's hard to guard somebody, man, because you don't really know, man, if they going right, they going left,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna go short, they're gonna go long. It's just funny, man. I'm out there in flag football with hooping shoes on, trying to guard somebody. I'm slipping everywhere. They said,
Mm-hmm.
"Nah, man, I got mossed by two or three times." So cornerback is a hard position, man. And I don't know. People say that's the hardest position to play in football, but man, I know. I said, let me play all time quarterback or something like that because they burning me out here.
It's
But
tough. I mean, it takes a lot of technique, and because think about it, you're going backwards and they going forward,
on
so you
forward,
gotta be technique sound. That's why I truly believe in, as you like, man, students of the game. You gotta be a student of the game. You gotta have the knowledge. They say knowledge eliminates fear. That's the truth. So you gotta have that knowledge. You gotta study that film because you can see the little nuances. Okay, on this route he does this. If they gonna something gonna tip everything they gonna do. So I make sure my cornerbacks, we study film left and up and down. All right, you're assigned to this guy this week. Once you come in on Thursday, once you tell this whole group everything about this receiver. And so I take pride in that. And my kids that play for me, they take pride in that too. because you got to be a student of the game. Because like I said, like they coming forward, they coming straight at you, full head of steam, and you going backwards. So you got to have little tricks here and there, man. I take pride in practicing that and also studying that film.
Yeah, that's true, man. You always see it, man. All cornerbacks got that swag. It's just they always had that same swag
Mm-hmm.
about themselves. And usually not the biggest person on the field, obviously, for obvious reasons. But again, they carry so much strength and so much speed and be able to hold it down because everybody knows
Mm-hmm.
it's usually everybody got a top wide receiver. So, it takes a lot of challenge. You got to be dedicated to that every single day, man. So shout out to our cornerbacks of the world. Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
I'll get you out of here, man. Talk about just some of your
Okay.
greats in track and field. It don't have to be the greatest, but just some of the people that you just thought, man, that's some greatness that we're looking at every single day, or that's some greatness that we did see. What are some of your legends, or just a few, maybe one or two people, more than that, about some of the greats that you like and just on the track and field side?
One person I truly follow a lot of on the internet is Justin Gatlin. Him and seeing what he's done. You look at Lolo Jones of the world on the female side of it. Usain Bolt, of course, but Justin Gatlin, to see what he's continuing to still do and prosper. You got your back in the day. If I said it to my track kids, who's Carl Lewis, they wouldn't know who that was. But but so you look at more this generation. I say Justin Gatlin. For them but Carl Lewis, man, him and FloJo and way back in the day. You want to go back to them days. But man, they were the pioneers. But now you look at Justin Gatlin's the world, the Lolo Jones, just seeing how they're prospering the sport and taking the sport to the next level. I take pride in it because then Justin Gatlin still having training camps and training and doing different videos and helping young kids out. And so I take pride in watching those and taking little nuances from them that I can add to my repertoire and help for my kids as well.
Man, yeah, that's true, man. A friend of mine, of course, I know my friend of mine is Spencer Gatlin. Of course, that is his, I think his nephew or his cousin. So he talks a lot
Yep.
about
Oh yeah.
times, man. So hopefully, man, one day
His wife works at our school.
that's right, show Wanda. That's right,
Yeah.
show.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You know what I was saying earlier, man? We just never know. I forgot about Wanda Brady in East Florida. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. So small world, man. So Coach, as we wrap up, man, I always give our guests on the last word. And when I say the last word, it could be anything when it comes to like maybe a shout out or maybe something that you want to share with us that we can take with us, or just pretty much anything that kind of concludes or close the episode. So, Coach, the floor is yours, man. Just take your last word on the podcast
Man,
today.
first and foremost, it's truly blessed to be here today. I thank you for this opportunity. Man, what you're doing like I said, from basketball now to expanded a lot of different sports, man, you're doing some amazing job. Amazing job, man. I'm blessed to be able to be in your presence right here. I'll continue to grow this relationship between you and I. Whatever I can do for you, I'm here for you. And just for the coaches, don't get discouraged. Step out on faith. Step out on faith, whatever you're doing, because you never know when that door is going to open. Like I say, you keep knocking, it's going to open eventually. I'm a living testimony of you can make it out of any single place, no matter what kind of situation you're in. You can make it out of it. If you want to go to the next level, try. You have to. If you went to NFL level or whatever, they have different internships you can apply for, the Bill Walsh Fellowship, different things like that. Try. Don't shoot. I'm not good enough. No. Go out there, network, communicate to others. Don't just live behind a computer screen. Get out and network in person. That's what these coaches want to see. So never just keep trying, keep pushing yourself. Do not get comfortable. Never get comfortable, man. Step outside of your comfort zone, and that's the only way you're gonna grow. I'm always available. Coaches are always available. Step out there. And so, like I said, man, I'm just a thankful servant of God, and He's brought me so much so far in life. So far in life. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Him. And so, again, thank you, and I love it. Thank you.
Man, Coach, I thank you for being a part of it, man. I thank you for the words, man. I appreciate it. I humbly thank you for those kind words that you said, and just being a part of it, Coach. And what I've tried to do, I did somewhat in season one. Those who are on the podcast with me, I try to go out and support them. I know we in the middle of your season, so Coach, I'm going to go out there and definitely try to support you. At least, like I told people, I know y'all gonna be in the middle of it, or the midst of coaching, man. If I just say, hey, man, how you doing? I'm just speaking here to support you, man. So that's gonna be my plan to get out, man, and just let you know, man, I'm just here, just watching you work. So, man, I just appreciate you, Coach, man, again. And people may ask, how do I get Coach Robinson on, man? I tell people all the time, man, I just support people who doing great things, but I also support people supporting me. And from time to time, when I
Mhm.
post different things, Coach would always like it, share it, whatever. And so that's just something I just appreciate you. So I thank you for that. And I tell people, it don't matter if you a head coach, if you assistant coach, if you a volunteer coach, if you a travel ball coach, it's not about that, man. We're not, and you can see it just from Coach Robinson just sharing and just some things that I've said. We're not too big on ourselves. So, man, this is an open platform for
Mhm.
you to be able to share your story. And again, I tell people this all the time. I'm not people, but people believe me, but I take notes all the time. And so I got a couple of things that I'm going to just talk about and add to what I do. So I thank you for your time, man. This is a spring break. You didn't have to do it. So I'm so appreciative of you. And I just pray blessings, man, upon you and your family, your team, coach, and of course, you're in a brutal. I think you said SEC West. Obviously, in football, man, you just in that same battle when it come to track, man.
Yes.
I'm excited just to be able to see what you have, man. And so, thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. Make sure you please share. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Of course, in season 2, we now are posting it on Spotify. So now you can catch us on Spotify. Or you can catch us on YouTube as well. As I say, always be nice and be kind to someone. Until next time, we'll see you all later. Have a good one.